Chapter 4. The Endless Digging. Morning comes with a pale haze over the hills. The men rise quietly, their bodies still heavy from the day before. Today's task is not one of swift satisfaction. There will be no visible progress at first glance, no dramatic change to the hillside. Today is about digging, and digging, and digging still. They gather along the marked line, the twine between the stakes faintly trembling in the breeze. This thin thread is their guide, the quiet command that shapes their labor. The measure nods once, and the first shovels sink into the earth. The sound is steady and unhurried, metal biting soil, a dull scrape as it cuts through roots, the soft thud of loosened earth falling in piles. Every man moves at his own rhythm, but together it becomes a single slow heartbeat of work. The soil changes as they dig deeper. The first layer is dry and crumbly, breaking apart with little effort. Beneath that, the earth grows denser, cool and heavy with moisture. Each shovelful must be lifted, turned and tossed aside, the motion repeated so many times it begins to blur into instinct. Some work bent low, their backs rounded like the arc of the hillside itself. Others straighten between strokes, stretching the stiffness from their shoulders. The sun climbs higher, casting sharp shadows into the trench. But the work does not quicken. It stays slow, deliberate. This is not a race. At intervals, men with picks take over where the ground grows stubborn, breaking apart stones too large for a shovel to move. The ringing of iron against rock is sharp, echoing briefly before being swallowed by the warm air. Dust rises in faint clouds, clinging to hair and skin, settling into the creases of hands. The trench slowly takes shape, its sides growing higher as the earth is removed. In time, these hollow channels will hold the bones of the road, layers of gravel, sand, and heavy stone that will lock together under the weight of countless footsteps. But for now, it is only empty space carved by patient hands. Midday comes, and the men rest in the shade of a low ridge. They drink from clay flasks, the water cool and tasting faintly of the river. Bread is passed around, along with wedges of cheese softened by the heat. Conversation is muted, their voices quiet against the distant hum of insects in the grass. When they return to work, the rhythm resumes. Shovel, lift, toss, pick, strike, break. The trench grows longer, inch by inch, hour by hour. There is a strange comfort in the repetition, a kind of quiet certainty in knowing exactly what must be done, and how. By the time the sun dips toward the horizon, the trench stretches far along the hillside, its edges neat, its floor level. The men step back, leaning on their tools, looking down the line they have carved. Tomorrow, the first layers of the road will be laid here, but tonight, the trench will rest, a silent scar in the earth, waiting for its stones. Chapter 5. Midday Rest. The sun sits high in the sky now, its light spilling over the hillside in warm sheets of gold. The digging has stopped. The picks are laid down, their iron heads resting in the dirt, the shovels propped gently against the stakes. Even the oxen, tethered in the shade, have grown still, their tails moving lazily to flick away flies. The men drift toward the shelter of a low stand of olive trees. The air here is cooler, touched by a faint breeze that carries the scent of crushed grass. A cloth is spread over the ground, and they settle onto it in a loose circle, knees bent, backs against the trunks. From a basket comes bread, coarse, dark and still holding a trace of warmth from the morning's fire. It is passed from hand to hand, each man tearing his portion with slow, deliberate care. Clay jars follow, filled with water drawn at dawn from the river. The water is cool, carrying with it the faint taste of stone. Some mix a little watered wine into their cups, the faint sourness cutting through the dust in their throats. A boy, barely into his teens, carries a small pouch of olives, wrinkled and dark from curing. He moves quietly around the circle, placing a few in each outstretched hand. These are eaten slowly, the briny taste lingering on the tongue. There is little talk at first. The men eat in companionable silence, their breathing slowing, their eyes half-lidded in the shade. A grasshopper hums in the distance. Somewhere far off, the sound of a river murmurs, soft, steady. When conversation begins, it is unhurried. One man tells of a road he helped build years ago, far to the south, where the air was thick with the smell of salt. Another speaks of his family, the youngest child, just beginning to walk. The others listen, nodding, sometimes smiling faintly, their gazes fixed on the shifting light above. A few men lie back completely, folding their arms beneath their heads, their sandals still dusted with pale earth. From where they rest, they can see the sky through the olive branches, a soft blue, traced with thin clouds that drift without hurry. The meal is not long, but it feels timeless. Bread, olives, water, the murmurs of men, the rustle of leaves, the stillness of midday. It is a pause in the day's rhythm, a breath held between the labor of morning and the weight of afternoon. Eventually they rise. The bread is gone, the jars empty. They brush the dust from their tunics and gather their tools once more. The shade is left behind, the warmth of the sun greeting them as they return to the road. The work will begin again soon, but the quiet of the midday rest lingers in their bodies, a reminder of the small, steady comforts that carry them through the endless day. Chapter 6. Laying the Stones. The afternoon light has deepened into a warm amber. The air is still, save for the faint hum of insects and the muted thud of footsteps as the men return to the trench. The hollow they carved from the earth now waits, clean and level, ready for its first bones. The oxen stand near the carts, the heavy slabs from the quarry stacked in neat layers. Dust from the morning's digging clings to their flanks, catching the sunlight in soft halos. A low creak escapes the wooden wheels as the first cart is drawn forward, stopping at the edge of the prepared ground. The work begins with the largest stones, the foundation layer. These are not meant to be seen once the road is complete, but their strength will hold everything above. Two men step forward to lift the first slab. They bend their knees, slide their hands beneath the rough edges, and with a slow count heave it into the trench. The sound is heavy and final, stone meeting earth with a dull, grounded thump. Dust rises in a pale cloud, curling around their ankles before drifting away. Another pair follows, their slab just as large, its edges chipped from the journey. They fit it against the first, tapping it into place with a smaller stone used like a hammer. The rhythm settles in quickly. Lift, carry, lower, adjust. Each movement is deliberate, each placement checked by sight and by touch. A hand runs along the seam between two stones, feeling for gaps. If a rock wobbles even slightly, it is lifted, the earth beneath adjusted with a small scoop of gravel, and then replaced. Some men work bent low, adjusting and nudging the stones with short pushes of the heel or palm. Others stand over them, waiting with the next slab, their shadows falling long across the trench. The sound of work is steady, the shuffle of feet, the scrape of stone on stone, the muted knocks of tools against rock. The sun tilts further west. The stones in the trench are now joined edge to edge, their shapes irregular but their fit precise. This is not the smooth, finished surface travelers will see, but the hidden strength beneath. Each piece is chosen for how it locks against the others, the weight of one anchoring the weight of the next. Water is sprinkled lightly over the stones to settle the dust and help the layers bind. The smell rises, damp stone, warm from the sun, with a faint mineral sharpness. The men pause for a moment, wiping sweat from their brows, the backs of their hands leaving pale streaks on their dust-covered faces. As the day wanes, the trench is half filled with this first layer. Tomorrow, gravel and smaller stones will fill the gaps, and the road's shape will rise closer to the surface. But for now, the foundation lies still, quiet and strong, the first true mark of the builder's craft. They stand for a moment, looking down its length. There is pride here, though it is unspoken. The road has begun.